virtual healthy holiday nutrition series. Whether you are here for a workshop or a cooking demonstration, get ready to experience a fun, interactive, and educational session. This evening, you will get nutritional tools and cooking tips for you and your family on how to enjoy the holiday season while maintaining your wellness goals. Welcome.
Again, welcome and thank you for joining us for our Healthy Holiday Nutrition Series. My name is Edleen Dormaville, and I am a health and wellness assistant with the Department of Parks and Recreation. Before we begin, let's go over a few housekeeping items. You should see a microphone icon at the bottom of your screen, like you see here on this screen. You will need to click on this icon to mute yourself. We would ask that you remain muted to limit any distractions during our program. Next, I want to draw your attention to the camera icon. You will use this to turn your camera on, off and on. Please be mindful that when your camera is on, all participants joining us this evening will be able to see your screen. You have the option to keep your camera turned off or on. But remember, we want to minimize distractions throughout the program and keep the focus on the presentation being provided. Next, I would like to show you how to pin a participant. To do this, you will need to click on the Show Participants icon. In the Participants column, select the individual you want to view on your screen, then click or tap the three dots icon to reveal a menu. From the drop-down menu, select Pin for Me. The pinned participant becomes the focus in your view and only your view, regardless of the speaker. To unpin, repeat these three steps and select Unpin. Repeat the same process to pin an additional participant. Please note, if you are in a web browser, the PowerPoint presentation will be in a smaller window at the top or bottom of your screen. Next, I would like to draw your attention to another Teams feature. You can also turn on live closed captions during the meeting. To do this, you will click on the three dots for more options. Then you can scroll down and find the option that says Turn on live captions. Then you will start to see captions at the bottom of your screen. You may choose to turn this feature on if needed. The last icon I want to tell you about is the chat icon. This will allow you to ask questions throughout the program. To type a question, you will just click on the icon like the one you see on the screen to bring you up the chat box, and it should take you to what you will see next. Once you see the chat box as you see on the screen here, there will be a space for you to type your question in. Hit and enter, hit enter and we will see your question on the screen. Please ask your questions throughout the program and there will be time at the end to answer any of your questions. We are looking forward to a great discussion. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our trained professional for the evening, Ms. Rosin Law. Rosin Law's education has equipped her with extensive knowledge in holistic nutrition, health coaching, clinical herbs, and preventative health. Drawing on these skills and her knowledge of different dietary theories, she works with clients to help them make lifestyle changes that produce real and lasting results. Law received her training as a health coach from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition's Innovative Health Coach Training Program. It's quite a mouthful. She also received training as a clinical herbalist from the Mid Atlantic School of Herbalism and the Smile Herb Shop. As a clinical herbalist, she can provide a complete assessment recomm- and recommend a customized list of herbal remedies for her clients. She uses food, herbs, and exercise for healing and maintaining a heavenly body. Welcome again, Chef Roz.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Adeline.
You're welcome.
Awesome, awesome. I so appreciate everyone joining us tonight. It is we're celebrating the holidays, and so what great way to do that, but to actually highlight a few of my favorite recipes for the holidays. And it's just going to be a little bit different also. And I imagine that's why you're here, to get something a little bit different, like to add a little something different to your table, your holiday table. And so tonight there are two of my favorite recipes, and one is a cranberry apple stuffing. Cranberry apple stuffing. The second one is root vegetables. I just did a little different spin on some root vegetables, and I'll talk about each one as I go along. But first, I just want to emphasize that when you are cooking, or let's just start with the shopping part. When you're going to the store and you're shopping, make sure if you can, all vegetables are wonderful. Any type of vegetables you can get is wonderful. But if you can do organic, that's great. If your pocketbook says no, you have to do regular, then what you're going to do in both, actually, bring them home, wash them really, really well. Wash the vegetables well. You can make a solution, wash them down in some vinegar, lemon juice, some baking soda, and wash them really well. Or you can buy a vegetable wash, but you're going to wash it well. Why? Because there are chemicals. There's different chemicals on your vegetables, as in the produce section, that they spray them to kill the bugs and the different, to ward off the animals and different things that might eat the crop. And so those chemicals can cause side effects in our body. So you need to wash it. When you get home, wash and scrub your hands, go all the way up to your elbows and get it all done. All right, so that is the beginning of my spiel. All right, so this is what I want to say. Please, please do not hesitate to type in the chat. Any questions that you may have, type it in the chat. We're going back and forth. This is a back and forth dialogue. I'm not just talking to you, but we're together, right? And so I believe is Edeline will actually tell me your comments, read them to me, and I'll answer. So you feel free to stop me if you see some questions in the chat. Edeline, is that all right?
Of course. That's
All
what
right.
I'm here for.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what I'm going to do is start with the cranberry apple stuffing, one of my favorites, and it's actually in my book. So now what I'm using is a plant-based. Now, if you're not plant-based, don't worry about it. Remember, this is virtual. This is so I'm here. So I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. But if you want to use some regular ground beef, or I would say really ground turkey, that would be my healthier alternative, because ground turkey doesn't have as much fat as the ground beef does. All right. But so what I'm going to do in this skillet is I'm going to use this. This is called, and on the recipe, you're going to get the recipes, but this recipe is called Quorn. It's Quorn. Let me just show you. And just in case you're interested, this is the package that it comes in. All right. And different stores sell it. So I choose this one because it's soy free, but it has 15 grams of protein. And so that's the one thing about being a vegetarian. I have to make sure I I increase my protein level. All right. Turning on my pan here. All right. So in a large skillet, you cook the sausage and onion over medium heat. So this okay, that's good. All right. So I have some onion. I'm going to put in here. Now I'm using some red onion, and I'm just going to just chop it up some and put the red onion in here. Now you can use any onion you want. You can use a yellow onion, medallion onion, white, yellow, red, whatever color you like. And I'm putting it over here in the pan. Let me use some more, get some more, because I got to have some for my other oh, I don't think I have onion in my other recipe. No, so I can use this. All right. Sounds good. And so you just chop up your onion. Now, I believe in eating to live. And so really, I'm going to save that for the root vegetables, that little spill, because a lot of people don't care for beets and things like that. But I'm going to give you that spiel about eating to live. Eat to live is one of my mottos. My other motto is movement is medicine. So I have a motto for everything that I do, because I am a certified health coach. And it's just certain things that I believe that we should be doing. All right, so in here I have my onion. I'm going to put in my grounds. My grounds. Let me sit this over here. All right. I believe I'm warming up here. Yeah, so that's going to just go ahead and now, can you see this pretty well, Edeline?
Yes, well, I can't really see your pan. I can only see the side of it.
What?
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
maybe
which
we
way do I
can.
need to go? This way?
Yes. Good. Perfect.
Is that perfect? See, I
Yes.
caught myself checking that before we started, and I didn't. All right. Now, it's perfect.
Yes, it's good.
It's good. It's not perfect, but it's
Oh
good.
no, it's perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. All right. Good. Good. All right. So just going to put some heat to that. And then, so I actually let this, it comes in the freezer section, the corn, the meatless grounds. So there's different brands of meatless grounds. You can choose whichever you like, or like I said, you can use a ground turkey. So if you're using your ground turkey, you know, it comes in a package. And so you're going to put it in here and you're going to break it up. And so that's the whole idea. Now, this comes frozen. So, but I let it thaw because I knew I was doing this. So I let it thaw. Um, but if it was still frozen, it would be, you know, I would have to separate it, just like you would do for the ground turkey. All right. Woo. So all of these herbs and everything is smelling so good in here. I can't wait to eat because I'm hungry. I say that all the time. All right. So my onions are in here. My meatless grounds is in here. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to add some simple things that we already know that's in stuffing, right? What's in stuffing? We have celery. So I cut up my celery. I have a couple of pieces of onion here. I cut up my celery. But for me, I don't like a whole lot of big pieces when I'm biting down. That's just my preference. So I kind of I mince it a little bit, and then I also chop it a little bit. So there won't just be a whole bunch of big pieces that I'm biting down on. That's just my preference. If you don't care, then it's fine. That celery is amazing. I love the celery. One thing about celery, you know, when you're buying celery, they come in a package with about 8 to 10 stalks, and you only need about two for your recipes. But you just got to find something else. So what I normally do is I'll chop it, put it in a processor, and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it. You know, because listen, food is costing a little bit more now. Even when it wasn't costing a little bit more, you still want to save it as much as you can. And just make sure you don't forget about it. Forget that it's in the freezer. All right. All right. Next, so celery. Next, I'm adding my sage. So I have some fresh sage in here. This sage, I love sage. So these are fresh sage leaves. Now, this is what I want to say. Listen, if you can purchase or if you have um, sage or any of these herbs in a dried form, then by all means use a dried form. Use a dried form. But I just so happen I love sage. I love sage. I love all my herbs that are fresh. And anytime I can get them fresh, I get them fresh. Especially if I'm cooking a lot. If I'm cooking a lot at home for a dinner and people are coming over, then yes. But then you can also dry them yourself. And if you come across somebody with a nice garden and they say, oh, taste some herbs, and you don't know what to do with them, just call me. Just call me and I'll tell you, oh man, the aroma. So when you cut into the herbs, the oils are whew, just releasing into the atmosphere and it smells so good. So I'm a herbalist. Can you tell? So I love herbs. All right. So that's my sage. Putting my sage over in here. Then I have some rosemary. The rosemary. Look at the rosemary. Nice, nice rosemary. All of these is fresh. But like I said, if you want to get dried rosemary, sage, oregano, all of these things, then that's fine. But and then what you do is a lot of people don't like to use it because they don't know what to do with it. Now you have to take the rosemary, you have to take the herbs off the stem, off the because if not, it's going to be like when you're eating, it's going to be like a little stick in your mouth. And nobody wants a little stick in their mouth while they're eating, enjoying their food, right? So I'm just going to put some rosemary over here and chop it a little bit. Now, you don't have to chop it if you don't want to, but I am. You know what? I need to use my other knife. This knife is a little sharper. So I'm going to chop. Yes, better. So much better. So I'm going to chop up my rosemary. So these are herbs that you're going to use in your stuffing. But guess what? If you are buying a stuffing mix, a lot of times it comes in a little bag already. And you can use that if you like, but I like to add a little bit extra. So sometimes I'll have my fresh herbs because this is really therapeutic for me. I like to get in the kitchen and I like expelling these natural oils from these herbs. And then sometimes I just go ahead and put it in my mouth. Also, I go ahead and eat it. Rosemary is great for everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rosemary over in here. Yes, rosemary. Then the next one is thyme. Thyme is one of my favorites. Thyme is one of my favorites. Everything is on a little twig. I don't know if you all can see this, but this is twig. And the thing about thyme is the leaves are just so little. They're so little. And so what I see people do sometimes, they'll drop this whole thing in a pot of spaghetti sauce if you're making a sauce or some type of recipe. But I want to get the actual leaves. So what I do, how you do this is you go against the grain. So you hold it up, and there's a few leaves on here, and you just take it the opposite direction, and they'll come right off. They'll just come right off. And again, this is one of my favorite. Thyme is great for a lot of different things. It's uh, antibacterial. It's just amazing. I love thyme. So I'm going to put some thyme over in here. Thyme. I put thyme in my rice when I'm cooking rice, when I'm cooking grits, when I'm cooking any kind of grain like pastas and things like that. When I'm boiling it, I put thyme right on in the pot in there with it. All right, so thyme. So far we have celery, we have sage, we have rosemary, we have thyme. Awesome, right? Awesome. All right, so now let me just go ahead and put this over in here like this. I'm just telling y'all, this smells so, so good. Now, while this is cooking a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and peel my apple. Now, you can use any apple. I have on the recipe, I have what? A golden delicious apple. Where's my apple peeler? So this is my potato peeler. Use it as an apple peeler. It's just a peeler, right? So I'm going to go ahead and peel my apple with the peeler. And you could, like I said, you can use any apple. Now, I would not use a Macintosh apple. And let me ask you this. What other apple you probably just maybe would not be so good in this recipe? Go ahead and type it in. Give me your answer. What type of apple do you think might not go well in this recipe? And while I'm waiting for the answer, I'm going to tell you why I say Macintosh. Macintosh apples, they get really soft. And so most people use Macintosh apples for baking, like apple pies or apple cobblers or things like that. Would you got an answer, Edeline?
Um, green apples?
Right. What? Where were you talking about? Granny Smith?
Yes,
That's yes, absolutely, Why do you think Granny Smith it might not be the apple of choice?
because of the tartness.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know,
We have an
even
answer in the chat. Someone said
uh,
red delicious.
oh no, red. Well, are they saying red delicious apple is one that we could use?
That we wouldn't use. Let's
Well, wonder
see.
why. Well, I would
They're
use
confirming.
the only apple that I would think would not work is the Granny Smith, not unless you just want something tart, and the Macintosh, because the Macintosh is going to be kind of soft. When you cook it, it gets soft when you cook with it, when you cook them down. So I'm basically just cutting up my apple, and you could use one. On the recipe it says, how many apples does it say? One. So it just depends on how much apple you want. You just want to be able to just every other, every bite, just get a little bit of apple in there, a little bit of cranberry in there. Um, and it's going to taste amazing. So you don't need a whole lot of apple, not unless you want it. And I got a funny story about apple. I went to the store to buy the apple for this recipe, and I came home and I lost the apple. I lost the apple. I don't know what happened to the apple. I'm looking everywhere for the apple. Looking everywhere. I was set up in here and everything. I called my husband. My husband eats an apple every day. He goes to the store and get an apple every day, just one apple. Go up. He's an apple connoisseur. So I called him. I said, "Did you eat my apple, sir? Did you eat my apple?" He said, "No, I got my own apple," which, I figured he did because that's what he does. So I had to go to the store and buy another apple, only to come back, and find out that I already put the apple out here on the table. So I actually have two apples, and I'll just give this to him later. But you can use one or two apples, just depend on how much you want in your stuffing. All right. So that's my apple cut up. And oh, here's some more. Let me just go ahead and use this. And you know what? This apple here, it tastes pretty good. Um, like I said, my husband is an apple connoisseur. So this apple, I don't know what the name of it is. They told me at the register. And I said, oh, okay. I know pink ladies, I know honey crisp. Anybody else have any other apples they know? Names of apples? Go ahead and throw them out there for me. Different types of apples. Pink lady, write it in the chat. Go ahead and write it in the chat for
We
me.
have gala apples,
Oh, yes, gala.
honey
Oh, yeah.
crisp,
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite.
That's my favorite. Is that your favorite?
Yes, that
I
is.
love I love Honeycrisp apples when I eat them. And how about Honeycrisp apple juice? They making the apple. Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, I have to look for that Fuji apples.
Fuji apples, yes, that's popular, very popular. Fuji. Yeah, so it's a lot of different apples that are out here. You just have to try them, right? All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is um, so my recipe says take this and pour it over in here. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my breadcrumbs over in here. Add my breadcrumbs. And I'm going to mix it. because you got to have your breadcrumbs. Now, this is gluten-free. So you can find some gluten-free breadcrumbs. And gluten-free, what is gluten? Anybody know? Can anybody tell me gluten? Like, what is gluten? What is the big idea about gluten? What is it? What does that mean? Anybody know? What's the big idea? Anybody know? Nobody wrote anything yet?
No answers yet. I think everyone's thinking very hard.
They're thinking hard. And so it's out there. I mean, people are talking about it, going to the store. I'm gluten free. I'm gluten free. I need this, the gluten free areas in the store. But do you really, really know? I'm gonna give you one more second. Because a minute is long. That's 60 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what gluten is.
Oh, we
Gluten.
have an answer.
Oh.
Let's
Okay,
see.
come
It's
on.
a protein found in things like wheat and grains.
Well, who Googled that? No.
Victoria, good job.
Awesome, Victoria. That's wonderful, wonderful. Listen, Google is a friend. No, but that's true. It's the protein found in wheat, and so that means that gluten is in any product or anything that you in it, like bread, cookies, cereal, anything that has wheat in it, um, is gluten. Protein is protein, and so what happens is some people are gluten intolerant, and so listen, if you're gluten intolerant, it can cause a lot of different issues in the body. But the one thing that I see in a lot of my clients is that it will cause the tummy to be bloated. It causes the tummy to be bloated. Your digestive tract is just not handling it well. And so what you do is you just don't eat those particular things for at least 30 days, and then you just see if you feel better. And if you feel better, then you just get to make a decision whether or not you're going to stay gluten free or you're going to introduce it back into your body and just, deal with the consequences. Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure I have everything. Oh, one thing I don't have here is my parsley. Here's my parsley. Now, this is curly parsley. Love, love, love parsley. Parsley is cleansing for the body and cleansing for the soul. That's what I say. And so what I do is I just curl it. It's already curly, but I fold it, fold it, fold it. And then I'll take my knife and just chop it. Just fold it and chop. Fold it and chop. Fold it and chop. This is definitely not my good knife. This is my good knife over here. Yes, parsley, great. So I use a lot of parsley. You can use parsley in your smoothies. It's good for you. Eating parsley, it's just good for you. It used to be, before I got on this healthy tip, I used to just think it was just good for decorations, garnishing, but actually it's very, very good for your health. All right, so let me put the parsley over in here. Stir it, mix it well. Nice, pretty green color. Ooh, touch the pan. Yes. All right. So now what I'm going to do is add. So I'm adding vegetable broth. If you're doing a turkey or you're a chicken person, but I'm a vegetarian, so I am using vegetable broth along with some plant-based butter. So the plant-based butter and vegetable broth, I already melted it and I'm putting it over in here to, yes. Oh my goodness, it smells so good.
So we have a question in the chat.
Uh-huh,
Are there any
sure.
benefits of parsley similar to that of vegetables?
Well, the parsley so let me see, what type of vegetables though? So I'm not sure what the question is.
So
Can you rephrase the
I gue-
question?
I guess Yolanda wants to know what are the health benefits of parsley?
Oh, the health benefits of parsley. So, parsley is great for your digestive system. It's also great for the liver. It's a good cleanser for the liver and for the kidneys. So, it's good. So that's why a lot of people use parsley and when they're detoxing because it's great to cleanse your liver and your kidneys. And so you can eat it fresh. It also cleans your palate when you're eating something that you're trying to, like onions or garlic. Yes. That was Yolanda?
Yes, that was. It's really interesting. I didn't
Thank
know that
you.
parsley had all those benefits. I
Oh
thought it
yeah.
was just decoration too.
Right? Decorations for the food. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So nice and mixed really well. And so what I do last with this is I add my apples and cranberries. Apples and cranberries because I like for them to be, not really, really cooked, but kind of raw like. And then so when I crunch, so that's interesting, right? I like to crunch in on the apple and cranberries, but not too much the celery. It's just your preference. It's your preference. Get all that apple in there, cut it really nicely. And then you mix it. This is my favorite. I love this. This is actually in my book. I love it. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not a turkey person or chicken, but I still love some stuffing. I still love some stuffing. This will be one of my side dishes. Actually, I'm having this tonight. Yeah, why not? Very good, very good. So that's the stuffing, y'all. I'm done with it. And y'all see that? I'm gonna put it on the plate when I get done. Done, done. How's that look?
It looks great. I wish I
It
can
is.
taste it.
Oh yeah, it smells good. I'm just trying to find out where y'all live. We just swing on by and get it. It's enough to share. Yes. I love it. It's colorful and it's ah I can smell all the spices and everything. I can't wait to bite into that. That's great. All right, so next. Ah, I saved this one for last because I am actually going to spiralize. And I'm not sure if you all know about how to spiralize, but I'm using this spiralizer. Can you see that? I'm using this spiralizer. And this particular spiralizer has several different blades on it. And these are the blades down here. All right. So I want to spiralize because this is the key about spiralizing. One thing about spiralizing is that you can use one vegetable, one root vegetable to, and you'll get a lot. And you're going to see that in a second. You're going to see that in a second. So I'm going to take my peeler again, and this is actually a beet. This is a beet. They call it an orange beet. It's not really orange in color. Sometimes they do have some that are orange in color, but I just grab the root vegetables that they have in the stores right now that's coming from the farms. All right. So this is a beet, and I'm peeling it. Smells good. I say that about everything. It smells good. Yes. And then I'm going to cut off the edge, the end. So I'm going to make it so it can be flat on the end. All right. Now I'm going to put this here on my spiralizer. Now, ideally, let me move this knife out of the way. This is supposed to be on your countertop, and this has a suction on the bottom, and it will stay in place. But let's see. Let's see what happens. And then you just get your root vegetables. And this is, like I said, this one is a beet. It's a different colored beet. And listen, I know beets get a bad rap, all right? But beets are very good. It's higher in iron. It's very good for your blood. So if you're anemic, beets is the answer. And so what you need to do is just find some good recipes for beets and eat it because you're eating to live, right? Look at that. Is that not only is that pretty, but listen, if you're trying to get your kids to eat more vegetables, this is the best way. These spiralizers, because they look at it as fun. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun, mommy. And they will eat it. And then you see how much it makes? Makes a lot. All right, so I'm going to pull him out. And look, the kids will love this. They're like, oh, look, it's a tree. It's an umbrella. It's a, you get it. Y'all get it? All right, so I'm going to put my beets over here in the pan. That's my olive oil. I really should have put my olive oil. Let me put my olive oil in the pan. And you're going to use some olive oil in the pan. All right. My beets. All right. The next root vegetable. Ooh, let me get all this good stuff out of here. Is that how what y'all think about that? What you think about this so far? Who spiralizes? Anybody spiralize their vegetables? Like, go ahead.
I usually do zucchini. So I'll
Uh-huh.
spiralize the zucchini to make the
That's the
zucchini
popular one.
noodles.
That's the popular one, zucchini for sure. But you got to do, if you can't do zucchini, I mean, as along with zucchini, do some other stuff. Uh-oh, I thought this is another, um, this is, I don't know what this is, y'all. I thought it was a red beet, but it's a root vegetable. But I'm going to tell you all what it is later because I got to look it up. I want to be totally sure. But I thought it was a red beet because it was in the store. It may be a beet, but it's just not a red one. So you all can see that all of these root vegetables, they come different. I was going to say it's a jicama. I can't never say that one right, but it doesn't look like one. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one here. Same thing, spiralize it, mix them up, put them together. Yes, go ahead and put some of that in here. Root vegetables, root vegetables, root vegetables. Now that beet definitely would if it was red, but I tell you what, I was going to say the color. That's what I need because I love cooking with color. Vibrant colors make sure you are making sure you're getting good, fresh, vibrant food. Another little tree, whatever you might call it. Yolanda, what would your babies call this? What would they say? You don't know? I don't know. She's doing something. Let's do the sweet potato. We're going to do a sweet potato. You can use a butternut squash. You can use a zucchini, yellow squash, um, or a sweet potato. And I'm just peeling the skin off. And you don't have to peel the skin off. Sometimes I don't. I'll keep the skin sometimes. And sometimes I'll keep some skin. Doesn't matter. Sweet potato is great for your nerves. Nerve endings. It's great for the eyes. It's got beta carotene in there. So it's great for that. I think we did. I did. Oh, you know what? I'm doing sweet potato on Friday. All right. Here we go. Just one sweet potato. And I'm telling you, the food is costing so much. All you need is one, but I'm about to show you how you're going to get a lot out of this one. Oh, might be a challenge here. Let me see. Okay, hold it. It's coming. See, my sweet potato is long. Let me chop it. Let me cut it in half. Make it a little shorter. Because that was a little challenging because my fingers weren't as wide. Uh-oh. Hold on. Turn it back around. Sweet potato. It's usually the easiest one to do. Here we go. There we go. Put it in there. There we go. Ah, look at that. Anybody have any children or grandchildren that would think this is fun, a little fun thing to do with your grandchildren? And then they make a little curly. You can make curly fries and everything with this thing, with this spiralizer. Shouldn't call it a thing because it is a thing, but yes. And let me do the other half of the sweet potato. And so you can use all different types of root vegetables. Going to get your root vegetables in. The one thing I love about root vegetables, you guys, is that when you cook root vegetables, they get sweet. Most of them they get sweeter. The more heat you put to it, just like an onion, it will release its own natural sugar. And so if you are actually a sugar addict or an ex-sugar addict like myself, the more root vegetables you eat, when you cook them, you actually become satisfied in your food and what you're eating, and you won't crave that other processed sugar like you would if you weren't eating it. All right. So look at that. I love it. I love it. I'm going to start that up. Ah, okay. Going to be done soon. The one thing I love about these recipes is they don't take long. Anytime you're eating healthy, it shouldn't take that long anyway to make it. I love it. And this is a turnip. I love turnips. I simply love turnips. I have a turnip recipe that's really, really good. Turnips is great. And now my daughter-in-law made for Thanksgiving turnips and potatoes and mashed potatoes with turnips in it. And people didn't even know that the turnips were in there. People say, oh, I don't like turnips. Well, the turnips were in there in the mashed potatoes. But I love turnips. I make turnips like, they look like fried potatoes and onions, but it's turnips. And then using the turnip greens with it, oh my gosh, so, so good. One thing I love about turnips is that when you eat a turnip raw, like if you eat it, you cut a piece of it. I'm about to cut a piece. Let me just make this flat on one side. Just cutting one side. But if you eat a piece of turnip raw, it serves like a bronchodilator. So if you're having issues with breathing, I was going to eat it, but I forgot I was talking. If you have issues with breathing, asthma, bronchitis, or something like that, and you have turnips around, just go ahead and cut up a piece of turnip and put it and just bite it. And you will actually feel your lungs opening up, your airways opening up. You can breathe a lot better. I'm just saying. I'm a asthma person, ex-asthma person. I used to have asthma, but I don't know. It went away, thank goodness. Every now and then. All right, so I'm going to get the turnip over in there. Ah, see how easy that is? Now, I don't know. They may have some other spiralizers on the market that That might be a little bit easier, but I wanted to get this one because it has a different blades. You can do different things with it. They can sweet potato fries and things like that. Any questions so far? Anybody have any questions for me?
No questions. This is a quiet group tonight.
It's a quiet group. I'm just wondering if you're there. Can you see this pretty well?
Oh, can you move it over to your left?
This way?
Yes, a little more. We can only see a tiny corner.
Oh my goodness. How about now?
Yes, that's good.
All right.
It's a little bright. It might be out of focus, but
Really? A little bright. And so this actually is a great um, vegetable side dish for the holiday. You could put, like I said, the red beet would have really made it pretty as far as being colorful. Red beet. So now, my garlic. I'm going to go ahead and cut up my garlic. Let me put this here. Because you have several cloves of garlic, you got to put in here. I'm going to let that cook a little bit down. And you're just going to chop up your garlic cloves. I have on the recipe is 8 garlic cloves. 8. So garlic is great for your hypertension, blood pressure. It's great for colds and flus. And you can eat it raw or you can eat it cooked. It keeps the vampires away. That's what they say. Put some more garlic in here. So I'm adding my fresh garlic and herbs to it. Now you can get the garlic already chopped up. This is my therapy. I love chopping. And the good part about this is you don't have to cook it long. See, I can't stop chopping. I can't stop. But if you like garlic, you can cook it, eat it a little bit larger. But if you don't care for it and you're working on your blood pressure, then chop it small. Garlic over in there. Then I have my rosemary. I'm putting over in there fresh rosemary. Again, you can use rosemary that's dried. And you want to chop it. Oh, I love it. It smells so good. So again, I'm chopping. All right. My rosemary. Look at that. It's becoming to look a lot like Christmas. And then my thyme. I already have that chopped. Thyme. My thyme, I'm put a little, might as well just go ahead and use the rest of that thyme. And then I have some oregano, and I'm going to chop up the little oregano a little bit more. Oregano is great. Oregano is kind of like a antibiotic. Oregano is antibacterial, antiviral, and you can use, oh, I can smell the oils coming out of this oregano. Oregano oil is very, very strong. And so is the oregano leaf. When you chop it like this, it's good for you. You can use oregano on your meats, vegetables, soups. Go ahead and add it to most of your recipes. Look at that. Oh, yes. Smells wonderful. All right. And then we have, so we did oregano. I'm going to use just a little bit of sea salt. This is pink Himalayan sea salt, a little bit of that. And then a pinch of black pepper. How about 2 pinches of black pepper? And that is my root vegetables. Root vegetables. Oh, smells so good. And just stir it. You're going to let it go ahead and cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I've been letting this cook since we've been talking. So it hasn't been 15, 20 minutes, but just know that the new wave, the device that I'm using here to cook on, it cooks fast. All right. So, but I do, when you're at home, I want you to go ahead and do yours for 15 to 20 minutes. Actually, about 15 minutes, because you don't want it. So you don't want it to get too soft. You still want the texture to be kind of, what's the word? Al dente, kind of like spaghetti. But you don't want it to get it too soft. All right. But you don't want it to be too hard either. So you just go ahead and cook it at your own preference. Now I'm going to use some of this parsley to garnish it. This time I'm going to take the stems off and just garnish a little bit with the parsley. Ah, look at that. Somebody ought to take a picture. Yes. How does that look? Any questions? Any questions from anybody? Nobody has a
No
question.
questions. That looks
I
great.
tell you, it looks good.
Yes.
I'm so glad. I'm about to have some. I'm about to plate it and get up close so you can actually see what it looks like. My vegetarian meal. I actually have some brown basmati brown rice in the kitchen that's waiting for me. And so I'll have my brown rice and beans with these root vegetables and my stuffing. And then that would be my, well, should I say mine and my husband's dinner? I'm making a mess. Ah, look at that. And you might want to cut it up a little bit because it's, look at that. It's fun. The kids would love it for sure. The children will love it for sure. We come around, get in front of the camera. What do you say? Am I holding up too much?
We have one comment says it looks very healthy. Someone else says Yolanda says, I know it smells delicious.
Telling you, it smells so good. It smells very good, very good. But how about now? And you can see it well, because you know I can't see it.
Yes, we can see it.
So the mixture of the beet, the turnip, the sweet potato gives it a nice little sweet flavor. And then, but really, really what stands out is the garlic and the oregano, the herbs and spices that I put on here. That little bit of olive oil did the trick. What you see is nice, cooked nicely, and the mixture of it is amazing. And then my stuffing over here, I'm telling you, with that apple and that cranberry, that's my bread. That's my bread. And then I'll put my rice and beans on here. And then that's my meal. That's my meal. Now you all can add baked fish or your baked chicken or your turkey, your Cornish hen, something nice and healthy to complement this. Or your salmon. How about your salmon?
We
Awesome.
have a question. Someone
Oh,
said, "Have you ever done the same medley in a soup
mm-mm.
or like
I've,
as
nev-
a soup?"
mm-mm. I've never done it in a soup. And I want to know, have you ever done it in a soup? Because my thought process in a soup, it would have to cook long, and that means that it would be soft. My noodles would be soft. My vegetables would be really soft. If you like it soft, then it'll work. It should work. But I
So we
want
have
to
a
know,
comment that says, "It seems like it would be good for congestion."
hmm,
Yeah. So I guess it's a soup if someone's a little sick, just to kind of clear up congestion. It seems like a good combination that would clear you right up.
possibly, but I'll tell you what, if you made it in a soup and you're trying to get it, clear up your bronchioles, your airways, upper respiratory, you definitely need to add some cayenne to it, some of the little kicks so they can actually help to open up your airways. So I would make it a little spicy soup,
Mm.
and put plenty of garlic, because your garlic, your cayenne, along with your vegetables, all of this is going to be good. And then also don't forget to add your kale or your green leafy vegetable with that also. And then you'll have all your vitamins and minerals and everything all there in one big soup. And go ahead and add a can of beans in there too. Then you have
Yeah,
everything very, very hearty.
sounds good. And what
It
if you
sounds like it,
added the spiraled vegetables maybe a little last so that they don't cook down too much and still, not get
yeah,
soft
yeah, yeah,
and still
yeah.
have the
That's
crunch?
true. But if you have a lot and the more you warm it up every day, not unless you're going to eat it all at that one setting. But if the more heat you put to it, the more it's going to be cooked a little bit more. But if you don't care, you don't care. It's just good. Um, yeah, and I was going to say something, but all right. Well, I really enjoyed you all. I really enjoyed you all. You all have been a quiet bunch today, but I hope that you enjoyed the recipes, and that's all I have. I'll see you, some of you all, hopefully in person on Friday. On Friday.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we do have some announcements. Just again, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Before we leave, just want to remind you that we would like your feedback. So please complete the survey in 24 hours to be entered in a drawing for a health and wellness gift bag. And next, please join us next Wednesday, December 21st, for our session titled Black Eyed Peas and Collard Greens Cooking Demonstration from 6 to 7 p.m. And lastly, there is also an in-person cooking demonstration titled Mashed Sweet Potato Cobbler and Holiday Parfait at Southern Area Aquatics and Recreation Complex this Friday, December 16th from 6 to 7 p.m. You can register to join through parksdirect.com. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Ross, for that wonderful demonstration, and hope you all have a good evening.
Thank you for joining us for this virtual healthy holiday nutrition series. For more videos to help you make healthier choices, visit the Department of Parks and Recreation's online resource center at pgparks.com or the Health and Wellness Virtual Library at wellness.pgparks.com. Until next time, be healthy, be well.